you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. So I bring back 2 suitcases of Beanie Babies. I make her go to the North Shore News to put a classifieds ad in the newspaper.
Oh, this is legit. I thought you were just going to take them out and sell them at school and stuff.
Oh, no.
Like, no, you're legit.
There was, like,
you took out an ad.
I took out an ad. Crazy collectors. I made $20,000 as a 12-year-old. Was my first time when I realized, oh, this is fun. I know,
$20,000?
$20,000.
Man, I thought I was like pretty entrepreneurial. Welcome to Growth Untold, the podcast, where we dive into thoughtful conversations and insightful discussions with world-class people, all with the aim of inspiring, educating, and empowering our listeners.
We are thrilled to have you here with us on this exciting journey to explore the diverse stories and the ideas that have the power to shape the world for the better.
Welcome to Growth Untold, the podcast.
Our guest today is a powerhouse whose journey defies convention and defines what it means to lead with purpose, persistence, and impact. She is the CEO of Mantis Group, an entrepreneur, angel investor, global advisor, and a fierce community builder. And if that weren't enough, she somehow finds the time to sit on 3 boards, invests in startups, and continues to champion inclusion in every space she walks into. Her story is one of hustle, heart, and higher purpose. Today, we're honored to unpack her inspiring journey. Welcome, Janice Liu.
Welcome, Janice.
Thanks, guys. What an intro.
You're welcome. You're very
You're making me
welcome.
cry.
Yeah. Everybody says that about your intros. I don't know. I don't feel like they're that good, but everybody loves them.
It says it with the heart.
I guess. Yeah.
It's heart,
Feel the emotion.
passion. I mean, I gotta learn a thing or two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks
we
for having
appreciate
me.
it. We typically like to start the podcast and starting from the beginning and the genesis of your story, Janice Liu, and how this came to be. And so one thing we want to ask is just how your career started in digital and in media. Where did that love come from? You worked in bank, agency. Just talk us through the inspiration to work in these sectors.
Oh, okay.
Don't you want to go back a little bit further? Like, tell us about your upbringing a little
Want
bit.
to go back?
Yeah,
Okay.
back.
Let's
Are
go
you an
back.
immigrant? Are your family?
I'm an immigrant. I'm not even first gen.
Oh, wow. So
I
like
know.
me, yeah.
Like
Nice.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't born here.
No, I was born in Egypt. We
Oh.
left Egypt when I was 3 years old.
Oh my God.
How old were you?
I was 8 months old.
8 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was born in China.
Mm-hmm.
And then my parents brought me to Canada when I was 8 months old.
Okay.
But in the late 80s, there was 250 mainland Chinese Canadians in Vancouver.
That's it?
That's it.
250.
Yeah. Look at it now.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
I would have never expected it to be that few.
Yeah, like you could practically get to Vancouver and just know every mainland Chinese person there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a high school.
Wow, that's nuts. That's nuts.
Yeah, so I grew up in Vancouver. I would say the pretty usual immigrant story. We lived in horrible environments. Everybody was constantly working. I don't know. What else can I
And
tell
what'd your
you?
parents do for work when they got here?
My mom did like a mishmash of things from cleaning to she tried to get her accounting license and all that stuff. And then my dad was more the business guy, but he did everything from manufacturing to trying to import marble into Canada to try to export manure.
Export manure.
Export manure. He did for a while
Love that.
there.
He's like, there's a lot of shit here. We got to
I know.
take this stuff out. Let's
pun
get the shit out of
intended.
Canada and make money off of this. I
Yeah,
love that.
get the shit out of Canada, make money off of it. He got into I think, international student immigration, like helping Chinese students come to Canada.
Okay.
That was pretty lucrative, I think, in the 90s.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so he's done everything. Like
Wow.
the typical example, I think, of entrepreneurship in the 90s and like the early 2000s.
Is that where you got your entrepreneurial spirit
Yes,
from?
I think that's where all of my siblings and I got our genetics from.
Oh, your siblings are entrepreneurs too.
They're just we're very into experimenting different things like music, culture, a
Oh,
bunch
wow.
of different things in different areas. Yeah.
And how many siblings do you have?
A younger brother and a younger sister.
Okay, so you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest. Yeah.
So
I
you're
was
on
like,
the other
I was like your
spectrum.
sister. I'm the oldest.
Yeah, you're on the other spectrum. We're both the youngest, Alex and I.
Yeah.
See, I remembered something about you.
Look,
Surprise.
Oh my God.
you are
Surprise.
friends. Wow.
Check.
Check.
And so did you always know you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Was that something you
So
knew at a young age?
that's a really good question. Someone asked me this recently. It was never about, because when you're 5 or 6, you're not thinking about it
Yeah.
in like, this is the label. I want to be a doctor, right? I remember when I was 5, we were living in this like condo complex in Burnaby, Vancouver, and I would go out to the complex area and pick flowers, and then I'd go knock on doors and sell little bouquets of flowers. There's no rhyme or reason.
Seriously?
And like today's parenting, probably not allowed.
Yeah.
But back then, my mom was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I made $5." And she was like, nobody's going to say no to a cute little 5-year-old girl knocking
Yeah.
on your door to be like, "Can I have $1 for this little bouquet of flowers?" And I was like, "Oh, this is kind of fun." All I did was pick something from here and brought it here.
Yeah.
So it became more of like a game. And then my first, I think, like very salient memory of entrepreneurship, or how you define it as that, it was we would go back to China almost every other summer
Oh, that's great.
to learn the culture, language, and we have family there. But one summer, every summer we're allowed to bring back 2 check bags. And so I think I was 11 or 12. It was the first summer I went back, and I told my mom, I'm not going to bring back, pirated DVDs. I'm not going to bring back all these like toys that we want in the West. I'm going to bring back 2 suitcases full of Beanie Babies.
Wow.
Because they were
Smart.
super hypey then.
Yeah, they were the
if
hot
you guys
thing.
remember, and you
Yeah.
have sisters, so they probably were really into it.
Yeah, of course.
And then I had this book. I checked their quality. I looked at their tags, and I was like, okay, these are from the actual factory. So I brought
Doing
2.
this at 12?
At 12.
Wow, you were way ahead of the
It
game.
was like high risk because you're like a 12-year-old.
High risk.
High risk as a 12-year-old.
This Beanie Babies is high risk stuff at
Can
12,
you just picture
okay?
12-year-old Janice? This is a high risk shit.
Yeah,
Glasses
this is
at the
high
edge of her
risk
nose.
Beanie Babies. Let's see how this goes.
But it's like, if you think about the opportunity cost. it's
And
like,
who bankrolled it? Did your parents bankroll
obviously,
it?
my mom did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she bankrolled, and she was kind of like, "You're gonna spend $1,000 right now on Beanie Babies. You're not gonna buy anything for yourself all summer. You sure you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to do this." So I bring back 2 suitcases of Beanie Babies. I make her go to the North Shore News to put a classifieds ad in the newspaper.
Oh, this is legit. I thought you were just going to take them out and sell them at school and stuff.
Oh, no.
Like, no, you're
There
legit.
was, like,
You took out an
crazy
ad.
I took out an ad. Crazy collectors. I made $20,000 as a 12-year-old. Was my first time when I realized, oh, this is fun. I know, it's a crazy story.
$20,000?
$20,000.
Man, I thought I was like pretty entrepreneurial because I used to like.
Yeah.
You
What
know,
was yours?
Well, my dad was my dad was a satellite engineer back in Egypt,
Oh, whoa.
and so when he immigrated to Canada and he had 3 kids, he couldn't go back to school and get his equivalency done.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of bounced around for a while. He was delivering pizzas. He worked in
my
a
dad delivered
factory.
pizzas too, yes.
Yeah, he worked in a factory for a bit, and then finally he got a job at a cell phone repair center that used to repair cell phones for, Rogers, like a third party. And so he got really good at repairing cell phones. And so I used to basically like buy broken cell phones and give them to him and be like, "Can you fix these?" And then I would resell them.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I like, it was a good business for a while, but I didn't make $20,000 or take out classified ads. I used eBay, so maybe
That's ahead of your time.
yeah,
too.
eBay was big for a while, and then
eBay
it
was huge.
and then it kind of disappeared, and now
Yeah.
it's big again. Do you feel that way about
eBay a little bit. Kijiji was big. Right?
Yes,
And then
Craigslist here in Canada,
Craigslist,
right?
I don't know. I think there's like a bit of a change that's happening.
But
to, like,
eBay
these-
made a comeback. I feel
Yeah.
like Amazon took
and
over.
then eBay's actually created a different, I don't know what it's called, vertical product line, whatever it is, focusing just on the sneaker market. Like they're trying to challenge
Really?
StockX.
StockX of the world, the goats of the world.
Yeah, they're also challenging. I'm a big watch guy.
Okay.
They're challenging Chrono 24 now in watches. They, took out their
Always loses me when he talks about these
authenticator-
luxury watches.
their
It's
authenticator
Rolex,
program.
it's Chrono 272 vintage watch. Yeah, sorry.
Chrono 24 is the platform. There's no watch called
sorry.
Chrono 272. But anyways, eBay for Chrono 24 came out, and then eBay competed with them and brought out their own authenticator program. So now they authenticate
Okay.
watches, they'll authenticate bags, like luxury bags before they sell them. Anyways, my
wow.
point is it made a comeback. My point is,
That was your first hustle.
yeah, it was one of my first hustles. It
How
was
old
one
were
of my
you?
first hustles. I was in high school. I was probably 15, 14, 15
pretty-
maybe
that's
when I
pretty dope.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yours is really dope. You took out classified ads and everything. Did you continue to do that every summer?
No, because I was like,
It was a one summer thing.
It was a one summer thing.
Damn.
Because I was like, you can't be selling these specific rare Beanie Babies by this kid every summer. Like, you just depreciate the value. At some point,
I'd be like, this was great. I'm going back again next
You
week
had the
and doing this.
foresight to know the opportunity cost. You're saying all these like big
words now.
Yeah.
Ever talk-
Did you understand this concept?
I
of this at
honestly,
12?
I mean, it's driven by different things. When you're 12, you're like, I don't want to be found out as like a con, or like
Yeah.
this 12-year-old is conning me with Beanie Babies or something, right? I'm like,
Right.
they're valid. I checked. I don't know. And I think it goes back to the flower thing. It was never about like running a business. It was about, this is a cool experiment. I think I'm going to meet the market. I think I'm going to just do it once, make my money. Like, that's a lot of money for a 12-year-old. And
Yeah.
I'm like, good.
Right. And it was like, that was what you were passionate about. Like, it was fun for you.
I was the customer, so I was super into them. And I knew what the value of them were. And I was like, oh my God.
What was your next thing? Was there anything else, or did you just focus on school?
Actually,
or?
I focused on school, and then I threw all of our grads parties.
And charged for that.
Of course.
Yeah.
That was my next big hustle.
So it was
'cause
like
I
an event
like-
planning business.
It wasn't really a business again, right? It was like, okay, I'm part of the grad council. Nobody wants to plan the parties. And I'm like, can I pick the locations? Do I get to pick the theme? So we like rented out Science World. We coordinated parents to come. Again, made tens of thousands of dollars for kids to pay for their after parties and all these things. And I was like, it's pretty fun.
Wow. Yeah. You do things big. You do things on a big, like you do things right, which is,
that's nice.
So walk us
sounds like-
through your thinking through this. Like you said, there's a word that you said about like gamifying it.
Yeah.
Like, did you see it that way? Like most kids are just like, I want to go and like skateboard. I want to do this. But you're like, how do I like gamify this and monetize and commercialize the experience for my favor?
Yeah. I think it was the gamifying part. It's also just like, I also worked a part-time job when you're in high school at a cafe, and you're kind of like, I'm spending an hour here and I make like whatever minimum wage was at the time, $8 an hour.
Yeah.
Or I can throw a party and make 10,000. And it became like this like value exchange, right? And then I think you have to grapple with like all your feelings around money and like what that means. But it was never about like, I need this money to survive. It was like, this is a fun, interesting problem. Can I try to solve it? Can I do it in a different way? And then see what happens.
That's one thing in business that I just, I don't know what I was watching recently, but it kind of it was explained in a way where I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And maybe it was on the podcast, actually. I don't know. But this idea that, when you start a business, a lot of people start businesses for different reasons. But at the end of the day, you need to bring value to people. Like, you need to sell. What you're selling is value.
Yeah.
You're selling value to people at the end of the day. Like, they'll pay you the price if they see the value in exchange for what you're getting. So I think about this a lot with like Dharma Gin. Me and my fiance have a gin company.
Oh, cool.
Together. Yeah. And so it's like we're selling people a bottle, but you're selling them more than a bottle, because most of our customers are ethnic, because we do an Indian dry gin. We use botanicals from
Oh, that's so cool.
from India and the East, like our cultures, representing our culture. So you're actually like selling them a bottle of their heritage to them.
Right.
Because that's missing in the market. When you
Right.
go buy like big brand alcohol, there's really not a lot of cultural
that.
things associated with it, unless you're buying scotch and whatever. Maybe you're from Scotland. But my point is that we're selling them more than gin.
Yeah,
we're selling
yeah.
them something else. What is the value that you're selling them? So
Yeah.
you obviously understood that from a young age.
But-
I
but I
never
couldn't-
saw it that way.
But you can't like tangibly articulate it at that age, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like everything in our world. Everything is about the story. You're not even art. You're not buying art because this talented artist did this. You're buying the story behind why this art got to this point, who the artist is. It's kind of like your story. You're buying your gin because of your story and your girlfriend's story and like your heritage, right? And then when someone's buying and consuming it, they're understanding, oh, I'm getting not only this interaction at this point, but the story and the value behind it. And people buy the story. People don't buy things for the sake of it, functionally always.
Do you think now, though, it's shifted a little bit because we're in such like the way I view it is we're in such like a what's a good investment that people buy things now, like because you brought up art, so my mind like immediately shifted to, well, now people buy art because they think it's a good investment. Maybe before they weren't doing that. Like but I was watching the show Ripley. Have you seen it on Netflix?
Yeah.
Such a great show, incredible, black and white, incredible show. But they have Picassos in there. And I was like searched it up, and back in the 70s, which is not that long ago for art, you could buy a Picasso for like almost nothing.
Ugh.
Like you could buy Picassos for like, I don't know, $10,000, which was a lot of money at the time. But now they're like, that same piece would be worth like $10 million or something. But anyways, my point is now people buy art because it's an investment. Now people buy watches because they're an investment. Before it wasn't like that. So do you think consumerism has shifted a little bit where people are focusing more on what's investment?
I think so, but I also think it's kind of related to the AI stuff we're talking about too, which is we're so focused on the outcome that we forget the journey. And you can't just keep focusing on the outcome because it just commoditizes everything.
Right.
And I think you have investors that will buy art because it's transactional and it's great for investment, but ultimately the value of it will appreciate if the story has longevity.
Right.
And I think immediately when you look at entrepreneurs, you meet business people, if they're very just focused on the outcome, it's not good business.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's the experience and the journey and the grit and all the scars you have from getting from that point to this point that I go, okay, I'm going to trust you with business.
And that's a good transition to getting to that point, right? Because like you summarized that really well. Like you were at Magnet Retreat, you found it. You were at cassette for a while.
Yeah.
You're always in digital and media. So first of all, before we go into that, and then we transition to AI, we want to talk about just like the genesis of you going from that 12-year-old getting $20,000 from Beanie Babies to going into working into, digital and data and cassette and agencies.
Okay. So that's a great segue. I finished university shortly after the 2008 recession.
Wow.
There was no jobs. So I think I went back to Vancouver and lived at home for a little bit. And then a friend of mine was like, hey, do you want to work in search engine advertising? And I was like, I have no idea what you just said.
Right.
Right? This is like Google, all that stuff. And so I moved back out to Toronto, took like a very low-paying job at an agency, pretty much putting ads onto Google's search engine results page.
Damn, that's a huge thing now, but back then.
Yeah, huge thing now. Back then, people are like, what do you do? I'm like, I kind of buy real estate online. And they're
like, what's online?
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah, probably.
My mom's like, I can't, what do you do?
Yeah.
And then at the time, I was transitioning from like a part-time job previously where I was helping sell fashion wholesale to retailers. So I knew that there was this opportunity where the stock after each season goes like 50% cheaper than whatever they're wholesaling. And so I had all these relationships and I was like, okay, why don't I use these relationships in the wholesale world, create an e-commerce? Because this was also at the time where like Nasty Gal became a thing. Everybody was like, oh, you can buy clothes online. But pre-Shopify. Okay, so this is where timing and mistakes and stuff kind of happen. So I spent all of my savings on these developers to build me a very expensive e-commerce website where I would sell like half a season late clothing and then vintage clothing on this website. But
this was when?
This was like 2010.
Man, you're ahead of the times always, it seems like.
Not
from
really,
like,
but
Yeah, she
yeah,
is.
of
everybody
course.
was. I mean, it was already on the rise, right? Like there's like
Really? You think so? I feel like people are doing that now, but in 2010.
It was kind of like a pre-drop shipping drop ship, right? Because these wholesalers would have this inventory and they have to discount it anyway after the season or after a certain order period. So you get access to all this like
No, I get the
leftover
concept,
stock.
but nobody was doing that. You just said it was
But I couldn't do it at scale.
Pre-shop drip,
Yes,
shop drop,
pre-Shopify. Yeah,
before ship drop, shop drop, drop ship. That's what it is, drop ship.
we gotta
Pre-drop ship before drip shop. Drip, a drippity shop, drip, drop.
Oh wow, what a great start to the podcast. Let's keep that one in there, huh?
Is that
Beautiful.
before it was that? That's it.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Okay, so back to that.
So from there,
Okay.
I was doing this on the side. So I'd wake up at 6, shoot pictures, fulfill orders, go to work at this ad agency for 12 hours, go back home, take photos, work in this basement, my basement that I lived in, and then had Shopaloo, which was the store, and then had my full-time job. That was
Wow.
like my first foray into digital, let's say.
And is this ad agency, like from what you're explaining, is that like extinct now because you just use
No.
Google Ads?
No. They're still around. They're part of one of the big 7 groups. I just don't want to.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's still a need for those kinds of agents because I would think now with
It's
everything being
changing.
automated with Google Ads that you don't need agencies like that anymore.
It's
but you
changing
still-
like crazy. I think the agencies are grappling with like all the changes happening.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So that was my first foray into digital, which is like, oh, hey, here's how the open internet works, and you drive traffic from, a query to a page. You call it a query, it's essentially a prompt, right?
Yeah.
Which is more AI term today. And then you have the digital side of it, which is like, how do you run a website? All the hosting, all the email, all the back end stuff that you're like, this is very different than running like a real brick and mortar store. So that was my first kind of step into it. I would say I don't call it like a failure, but it was definitely one of those things where it's like, if I had just waited 2 years, I could have paid for Shopify. Like timing and like the opportunity is like a big part of the journey, I guess. So I ended up selling all of my leftover retail inventory to
What do you mean when you say you could have paid for Shopify? Like just to join Shopify and make it easier?
Shopify in 2010 was not like readily available. They didn't
Right.
have features. They were like brand new, I think.
Yeah.
Like it
So it
wasn't
would have
like a
made your
service.
business easier, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
if you
like
would have
it
waited
says-
2
It says
years.
spending $20,000 on developers to make you a site. You could set it up yourself for $2,000.
Okay, I understand.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
if the tech had met you when you had your idea, then it'd be so much easier.
Right.
Versus like today, we'll talk about this, but like how can you build things with the tech you have? Because now it's meeting you in such a crazy way, right?
Right. Okay. So you stopped doing that.
So I stopped doing that, and then I focused on like the advertising digital world for, I would say, most of my 20s, like trying
of your
to
20s.
yeah, because that's how I got to cassette. That's how I started working on digital. Like I led digital for cassette for a few years. That's how they ended up asking me, do you want to run our data company? So I ran a data company for them for 4 years. That's how I got into data, but all from the lens of advertising. And it's like a very good education, because if you think about all the big technology companies, yeah, they make money today on AI and cloud and stuff, but most of their revenue comes from ads.
Well, and ultimately from data, right? Like data
Yeah.
is the most profitable thing for
You're right.
someone like Meta, isn't it?
Data is the margin, but the ads is the revenue model.
So walk us through that. You were head of digital and
Yeah.
data for cassette. Like, just explain for our listeners here, like,
What does that mean?
What does that mean, first of all, and then the best ways of leveraging ads to drive revenue? Because I'm assuming not all forms or mediums are the same.
Yeah, so it was focused on, like, the customers were usually marketers that need you to go, here's an allocation of money. How do I use this money on the open internet most effectively to get whatever I want, whether it's an action or traffic? Experience-wise, can I personalize that experience for the user? Because the moment a person is on the open internet, you're not able to control what they see, right? It's not like if you come to like Nike.com, you can control everything that the user is seeing, pricing, all that stuff. And so how do you create a digital experience before someone gets to a brand's website? That was essentially the job. And then you need tech that underpins all of these pieces, because the open internet, if you think about it, is made up of multiple universes, right? You have the Google universe, which is like apps, search, apps, search, Gmail, like YouTube. Then you have like the Meta universe, right? WhatsApp, Instagram, all those guys. And then you have the Amazon universe where you shop. Where
Apple
you,
universe.
Apple universe, right? You're using Apple Music or you're using Apple OS. Like these are big universes that don't talk to each other.
Right.
And you have no sense of what the user has seen in another universe.
Right.
If you look at them from purely the other, like the Google universe, for example.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And so then you started Mantis Group,
Then I started Mantis, yeah.
which is basically, I mean, you'll explain it better, but you consult companies on how to utilize data to create revenue,
That's not bad. Pretty good.
right?
Mina,
So I got,
give me
you
some.
get a high five.
Oh, wow, I get a high five for my
Efforts?
data explanation.
Listen, I'll weave it back into the gin. You'll like that.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
please,
there we
please.
go. I
Yeah,
love
that's what I
that.
want. What
That's
I
what I
want
want.
is how do I grow my businesses? That's what I want from this conversation.
Come on, Janice.
What do I do?
Give us the goods.
So when I was in digital, I would say I would say all of 2010 to 2020 is like heyday of tech, right? Everybody wants to be in
Right.
tech, tech's everywhere, but there's only so many big players that you have. And then you don't have, I would say, how do I say this? Everybody's talking about the digital experience or like what does that interface looks like or feel like for the customer, but no one knew about the data. Everybody thought about data as in like reporting. So when they came to me and they're like, hey, do you want to run the data company? I'm like, I am not running reporting. I don't want to run reporting for you, right? And they're like, no. We want you to run this use case, which is how do you take data and commercialize and make money with it in the ads context? So I spent 4 years building a product for this holding group, technology product, that allows you to use this technology's data for targeting instead of Facebook, instead of Google. So in Facebook, you can say, I want people who are interested in alcohol, let's say, right?
Yes.
But you cannot pick what kind of alcohol brand or what other details.
Yeah, there's
And
also
so-
restrictions,
and restrictions.
because when it comes to alcohol, yeah.
So instead of using that filter in Facebook, you can essentially use the technology, the data, and the audiences we had built and control. These people went to a liquor store. These people have bought this product before. They went to maybe this brand, and then create an audience, put it into the platform, and only show ads to that audience.
Right.
So this was the use case that we ran for 4 years. And it was like, oh, this thing makes you guys millions of dollars. And now you said, now we know data is very profitable, but that's what I mean. Like the revenue model is ads, but the margin comes from data.
Right.
The ad placement doesn't change, but who you target can increase the cost, right?
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I heard that, I think Zuckerberg talked about this, but when he first started Facebook, it wasn't even Meta back then, but when he first started Facebook, he didn't like envision that his most profitable commodity would be data. He
No.
didn't know that. Like
No.
that's something he discovered much later.
Yeah. It becomes like, if you think about it, it becomes like the oil to everything else, which is the car.
Right.
Like your website is the car. AI models, they're cars. But it's the oil that fuels the car, right? If you don't have good oil, the vehicle's not going to run.
Right.
If you don't have the vehicle, then there's no point for the oil. So he started to realize that, oh my God, I can actually use the oil not only for advertising to increase my revenue, but I can build things with it, targeting, other use cases. Now he's using it like everywhere, right?
I love that.
How do
analogy.
you extract the oil? Like that's my thing because at like, for our gin company, for example, we use already made platforms to sell our gin, but there's restrictions. Like they have to check a box to say that they subscribe and that they agree to give you their data so that you can then use their data to target them. But if you're like let's say you're a startup company, what's the best way to extract that information or extract that oil, as you say?
I think you have to tell a good story. And then I think you have to get people to give you their email, their information, their first name.
So that
last
is
name.
always the like stepping stone.
Yeah, because I think what happens is if you think about it, all the platforms make it super easy for you not to do that, right? You guys put this on YouTube, so YouTube has your data,
Yes.
but that's called data debt.
Right.
Because you're giving your power away
Right.
to YouTube. What if tomorrow Google changes their algorithm and all of a sudden you don't make money that way anymore? How do you talk to your customer?
We don't make money anyway. Just trust me. We just spend money on
You
this
just
stuff.
spend money.
But I get what you're saying. So yeah. So what would you do as an alternative
You create a website or some sort of area where you can go,
that
hey,
you control?
that you go, hey, if you want to know about when we do the next gin drop or when we do a live event or when there's something coming up that's in your neighborhood, give me your info, consent, and I'll let you know. Don't be like annoying about it, which brands are, right? But just be like, I'll let you know. What's the value exchange? They're already got to your page because they're interested in your brand, your story. Give them a value exchange. Here's why you're signing up. Do you consent? And then when we work with brands, we go, or customers, what we're doing, I'll talk about it in a second actually, is we're helping them essentially go, you just want to understand your customer more, right? Right now, if you use all these platforms and these intermediaries, they understand your customer.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
How do you understand your customer? This is the biggest, I think, gap that I see in entrepreneurship is people don't spend the time hanging out with their customers.
Right.
Like understand them, understand what they like about you, understand what their issues are, and be like, can we have a relationship?
And what's the best ways of doing that?
I think like going out IRL, meeting people is a big one. You have to meet people to connect, right? Like people, there's so many brands, there's so many options. If you don't have that real life connection, how do people trust you? How do people know your story? Like if I just saw your label on a shelf, would I have known the story of the fact that your ingredients come from an Indian heritage? Probably not. So you have to like create that space and time to tell people that story. And then you go, hey, would you want to hear more? Or you want to access, I'm making this up, like cocktail recipes. What's the exchange? It's kind of like friendships, right? It's like we're adults. Everybody's like, I don't want new friends. And I'm like, sometimes you need to make new friends because it helps you keep your old friends because you're not so annoying pestering your old friends all the time.
Right.
But there's a relationship exchange. Like, how do you become friends as an adult? How do you make friends? Or how do you have that connection through brands and customers today when there's so many?
Right.
And so, and I want to pivot back to Mantis.
Yeah, let's pivot back.
I want to hear more about, your goal of the company, where you vision this going. I think we spoke briefly about it when we had drinks a few months ago. But for our listeners, what is Mantis? What's the vision? What's the goal?
So we're actually going through a pivot right now. I know.
Love a good pivot.
Love a pivot. We just kind of realized that we were working on solutions that are a bit too ahead of the time. So we're pivoting the messaging, we're bringing it back. Essentially what we're doing is we're helping companies understand that if you are a company and you have a customer, you are probably a data company, whether or not you like it or not, because you have customers, B2B, B2C. If you have customers, you're a data company. If you're a data company, what that means is there's probably value there in your asset that you can squeeze to bring you more revenue through different means that you are not aware of. So I have a colleague who says this all the time, which is like, you make chairs, right? And in making chairs, there's all this sawdust. What do you do with the sawdust? Keep making chairs, but we're here to show you how to make money from the sawdust.
Right.
That's essentially it.
From the stuff that you're throwing away.
From the stuff that you're throwing away, or it's a byproduct of owning a brand or having customers in the first place. So that's kind of the proposition. And then what we've also been doing is we have engineers and a team of like tech folks that we actually solve a problem through building a product. So what that means is, let's say you're a bank or, I don't know, you're like an airport or something. You make money through one core avenue, but how do you now build products with your data to make money in other ways? Right. So today we're a services business mainly, but we have some IP that we've built that's technology based that we've kept kind of under wraps because we're waiting for timing and the right feature set to launch. Soon we'll be a services and a tech company. And then we're working on how do we become a services, a tech, and a data company. Data being like we aggregate data, what do we do with it? We build our own products for ourselves and for our customers. And then we're toying with the concept of can we eventually also become an AI company?
Right. So Tell me about that, because AI is everybody's like on the train to utilize AI. I mean, I utilize, Chat GPT probably several times a week. And then I find a need to utilize other kinds of AI, and I don't know where to go. Like, for example, I was at my production company, Press Play Productions. We were looking to work on these posters. And so I was like, what AI do I go to help me like build out these posters or poster concepts or whatever? And I didn't really know. Like, I was just kind of like, I don't know. And then we just ended up shipping it off to a design team instead, because I was like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to figure out which AI is best to do this and all that kind of stuff. So where do you think that's going, and how fast do you think this is gonna expand?
So it's going to expand very quickly. Like, we're in the revolution right now. You're just going to wake up one day and it's just going to be post-revolution. It's kind of like, do you remember the time before internet?
Yeah.
And after internet?
Yeah.
It's just that now we're like, wow, when we built the internet, we thought we should make some very loose rules, and people now are like, no, we need more stringent rules, because, there's mental health impact, there's all this stuff, right, that we didn't realize from the last time we went through a big transition. But it's happening very, very quickly, and it's going to disrupt everything. Like, I've already been saying, I'm shorting anything that is traditional tech. Anything that you think used to cost a lot of money to build, you can prompt AI to build now. There's been entrepreneurs that are like ex-founders that have said, I raised $100 million to build a piece of tech that I became like a software and whatnot. It took me 3 days in proper prompting to rebuild it now in a prototype.
Just using what? Like,
just using AI.
But are there more advanced AI models that the average consumer doesn't know about? Like, the average consumer knows about ChatGPT, which is great. But are there more advanced AI models that your average consumer doesn't know about that are even more sophisticated and better?
Definitely. They're all, like, I would say chat's getting way better. Have you used deep research? On chat, it's literally paying an academic to do research for you for free.
It's pretty crazy.
Crazy.
You get around 4 deep. You pay in a subscription service for ChatGPT, and deep research, they allow you to 4 to 5 times say conduct deep research on this. Takes a bit of time. Like
what are you
3
saying?
3 to 5
right
minutes. What they're providing you like a massive.
Give me an example. You just said a bunch of words.
If you go, hey,
you're like,
I
you pay 45 times deep research. It takes time, but in the end,
it delivers.
It'll tell you how we export shit to make money. Like, what is that?
Welcome to the buzzword garden.
So explain it. Let the expert explain it.
Like, one prompt you could do is like, what is the market analysis of gin in North America relative to 10 years ago, relative to tariffs and import constrictions? Like, that is a big question, right?
Yeah.
If you put that into deep research today, to Alex's point, it'll take 3 to 4 minutes of processing, and it gives you like a 40-page report.
Yeah.
And it's accurate. It's more accurate than like the regular ChatGPT.
I mean, you gotta,
because the regular ChatGPT would be like, I don't know, I can't guarantee that this is accurate. It's like the other day I was asking about measurements or something, and it was like gave me a whole disclaimer before it gave me the answer.
Make sure you're not cooking.
It was like, based on your width, your shoulder width, it may be this, but it could run big, so just go get it. Go to a tailor. Go to a tailor. I was like, okay.
Useless.
Not helpful.
So this deep research is, you would say, like more academic.
It's just more in-depth, more academic.
Yeah.
But so if everybody knows about chat, there's what I've been using actually are the Chinese models.
Right, I heard about this DeepSeek, or was it?
DeepSeek's one, but Alibaba has one called Qwen, Qwen. It's like better than chat. You're not killing a tree every time you use it. You know that, right? Because every time you use chat, you're like killing a tree.
Why?
Because the amount of energy they need.
Right.
Okay, I'll do a quick like story snapshot. The Americans have essentially been building AI on, you need a lot of data centers. So like huge amounts of land and nuclear power.
And chips,
And chips to get AI to function the way it functions. It's just is like a way faster international computer, essentially, right? but they couldn't. There was a tariff war between China and the U.S., so the Americans were not shipping NVIDIA chips to China.
Yeah, they're not anymore. Trump has imposed
no, he's
that
like, no,
there's...
you can't touch my chips.
Yes.
So the Chinese were like, well, why don't we just build a model not using their chips?
Right.
So they did.
But using what? Their own chips?
Using their own chips or using compute that's a little bit less energy intensive.
Okay.
So for I think it's like I don't quote me, but like 1,000th of the price to build a model using the Chinese method versus
Right.
the American method.
Okay.
Okay.
But aren't you concerned that when you use those, you're giving them your data?
You're using TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what the
You
whole
already
concern.
are, right?
That's
You're
the whole
already
concern.
using- yeah, and like, listen, I don't know about you, but do you trust the Americans more right now or not?
I live in the States, so I'm not going to answer that
Don't
question.
answer that question, especially. So the whole, I agree with you. Like, there is like a fear of, oh my gosh, I'm giving my data, but like, you're also already giving your data to Zuckerberg. I don't think he's a better judge of character than the
Right.
founders, right? No offense. And then I think the other part of it is like, it's just the zoom out. Like, if you look at capitalism, we're always trying to get a cheaper product so we can make a bigger margin.
Yeah.
If you have huge tech companies or companies in general that are like, oh my God, to invest in AI in the current structure and the mode of what it is, it's going to cost me $1 billion. Do I want to spend $1 billion or do I want to spend 100 million?
Yeah.
Right? Like the price point of that model is just cheaper and the application is the exact same. It's kind of like, do I manufacture sneakers in North America or do I manufacture in China? That's like, we're living through the manifestation of those choices, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what do you think that companies like really need to be cognizant about? Like there's a revolution that's happening right now. What like some people are a little nervous that there's hype behind this. Some people don't trust it. Like first of all, like what do you think is one of the biggest myths and misconceptions of AI that companies are nervous about?
Or consumers in general.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, I think, thinks that it's going to take your job, and it's going to take your job. Like, I don't need to,
So that's not a
see that.
misconception.
It's not.
That
I
is
think, like,
accurate.
people are like, let's be positive and like not think these ways, but like it is. That's the reason why finally you have these like tech bros that are kind of like, we need universal income. You know, you need a universal income now because all white collar jobs are getting impacted.
Yes.
Right? Everybody used to be like, I know Excel formulas. That's my hard skill. It doesn't fucking matter anymore. None of it matters anymore. Right? So I think the challenge is it's like we're so focused on the outcome as like a society, beings, whatever, that we get something like AI that's so utilitarian. You can use it, you get your outcome really quickly. I think the swing is that now we're going to price things.
How long
that
do you
are
think this
more-
is going to take? Because like for
2
example,
years.
what? What? Because like
2 years max.
I couldn't even get my question out. It's like 2 years tops.
It's like
The
family.
world-
It's
you
like
will-
Family
your-
Feud. Hit the
yeah,
button and
your
then gas
job
right away.
will be over.
2 years.
No, I mean, first of all, that's why I'm very happy that I chose to go into the arts because we can
Yeah.
argue this, but I don't think AI will take over all aspects of the arts, especially the human connection aspect of it.
Too late.
But my parents, wanted me to be a pharmacist, and both my sisters are pharmacists. Sorry, guys. You should have made another decision. No, but how long do you think, for example, it'll take? Like they're not retail pharmacists, so hopefully they won't be too mad at this. But let's say a retail pharmacist, right? Like someone who's just doing, looking up prescriptions, consulting the patient, all that kind of stuff. How long do you think it'll take for AI to take over that job? Because it's really, I don't want to say easy, but like
automated?
Yeah.
Like 2 years. Sorry. Like
2
I don't
years.
think it's not gonna be like overnight, my job is gone. It's gonna be first right now
we don't need as many pharmacists.
we don't need as many.
And then we need like only one. And then we only need you for 4 hours. And then we don't need you at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
You hear that,
what's-
pharmacist?
I
It's
know.
over for you.
Sorry, sisters.
Pharmacist, it's over for you.
There's gonna
Get
be-
out now, find something else, build a new skill. It's done. It's over. We don't need you. I mean, hey, but that's like the
Your sister's
reality.
gonna hate this
Margaret,
conversation
Marianne,
forever.
we love you.
But that's the reality of what you're saying. It'll be like for a lot of jobs.
It will happen slowly. At first, it's going to be like the most annoying thing in my job is going to be removed. Then it's going to be more. Then it's going to be more, right? The thing in the hypey stuff we hear in the news is like, oh, I can just make a video with AI now. Sure, that's like that's like 5 people's jobs today in like a studio, right? But people want to do more like creative things and not do their laundry, right? That's like the trade-off. So
Right.
that's going to happen. It's just first they're building the infrastructure right now, and we have very early stage usage of the use case, which is talking to it, getting it to give us things. But it's going to over time take on everything. That's why do you know what AGI is? It means essentially it's like robotics that will have intelligence in them. So your
Yeah, like
parents-
what Musk is doing with his
Yeah.
robots. And I know I was talking to my friend. Weren't we talking about this at the bachelor party? But anyway, we were doing my bachelor party, and Alex did a great job, by the way. Great job planning.
Thank you.
Planning a lot of it. But we were talking about the Tesla robots, and I was talking about how like Musk is saying it's going to cost $12,000, which probably means it'll cost $25,000 when it comes out, because he always says things are going to be cheaper than they are. But I was like, even if it's $25,000 and this thing can do my laundry and clean my dishes, I'm freaking buying it. Like I spend so much time doing dishes and doing laundry, because like we cook a lot. We cook like every night. We don't order out, like, because we just don't. We want to eat healthy, and the oils and the salt and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, if this thing can just do the like laborious work for me, I'm buying it. So is that AGI?
Yeah.
We love that.
I mean, a more moralistic use case is
Yeah.
like
You're like,
senior-
this is nothing.
senior citizens who need care.
I don't care about the senior citizens.
You're gonna be one day.
I care. Well, by then, I
will
think by
hope
then,
to hover.
honestly, by then we'll live to like 150. No, but I wanted to do stuff for me so I can win back all that time. I spend hours every day, bro, doing
I could
dishes,
see. Wow.
cooking and doing dishes. Honestly, because here's what I was talking about. For example, cooking. I think cooking is pretty artistic.
Yeah.
It is like baking maybe is very like formulaic, but like cooking is artistic. So I wouldn't want it to cook for me. But if it could just chop up the vegetables and get shit ready for me, that would save me a lot of time.
sous chef.
Yes, is sous chef. Sous chef my shit for me. And if it could like clean my dishes, great. If it could do my laundry and fold it, great. Like the other day, our whole bed was filled with a mountain of laundry. And Emily spent hours folding it. I was like, yo, where's this robot at? I want this thing now.
All right, I want to switch gears here. Let's get serious. It's
Your feature
there's a-
manifesto.
there you go.
Yeah, right. That's
Robot.
right.
There is a quote that I liked online that actually you've quoted before. We were doing some deep research, if
Deep
you will.
researching. Okay.
And you said, "Live in the future, then build what's missing." And I'm assuming founders observe the future, then they reverse engineer, and it seems like there's a common theme of what you've done ever since you were 12.
Yeah.
What's a future behavior market shift you are seeing now, other than Mina's whole spiel, that
AGI. It's called AGI.
That AI, but that AI hasn't caught up to yet. Like, what's a gap that exists that's technically possible that you think that hasn't been commercialized? Because I'm assuming you see probably gaps every day.
Yeah.
Like a gap that I see, for example, is like if you see, like in sports, live sports, why haven't we caught up to AI yet for refs missing calls for NHL,
I know.
NBA, NFL?
Actually, I don't know.
Right?
It's
That's
really
a
annoying.
classic example
You should use
of
glasses, and then they can kind of like see it and then replay it. Yeah.
like none of these things should be missed given the massive advancements in technology. So I just wanted what are some other things that you think people should be aware of, or gaps that you see?
Okay, so it goes back to kind of like what we were talking about your gin company and like getting that information. Most companies today realize, oh, I know data's worth something, and I'm glad I kept all of it, but I should have cleaned it up.
Right.
Nobody's cleaned up their data. It's all just in a storage, like think about a storage closet. It's in there. It's a mess. So the entire North American market, let's say, is focused right now on cleaning their data. Everybody's like hyping up AGI, AI, all these things, but only these tech companies are ready to kind of embrace it because their data is clean. Everyone else's data, if you're like a 100-year-old company or you're a bank and you're on all these systems, your data is a mess.
Right.
So everyone's focusing on how do I clean this up? I think that's like the first gap. The second gap is once you have it clean, what do I do with it? Because everybody's like, how does ChatGPT and me selling, I mean, I'm selling gin, how does that work? How do I put the two together, right?
Right.
What are the use cases? What is the experience? Wouldn't it be great if, part of your value exchange, your user goes to your website and it's an AI that tells them, hey, what's the meal you're having? Here's a cocktail that pairs with your meal. And it can give that value back.
Interesting.
How much would that cost?
Right now, not that much because
Really?
Yes.
I gotta hit
So-
up Mantis.
so
That's
I
what
know,
I gotta
we
do.
gotta
That's
talk
step
about
number
there.
two.
So it's understanding the consumer journey, very deeply.
Well, because it's all going to change, right? If it's all going to change. Like today, it goes, Mina's Gin Company sells to a customer. And you have like someone in the middle that goes, here's how much, how many stores I have. I'm going to carry your gin in like 3 out of my 10 stores. Mm-hmm. In the future, it's not going to be B to B to C or B to C. It's going to be B to AI, AI to AI to C.
Interesting.
Because why would you go and book your hotels across, let's say, a European trip if your AI can make your itinerary for you? It can get you the best pricing. It can negotiate with another AI to get you a better pricing. You can get all the flights to match, and you don't have to think about it at all.
Wow.
Yeah, so those are AI agents, right?
Yeah,
and
that's AI.
That's a big thing that everybody's talking about now too, is AI agents.
Yeah.
Right? That's like another
So an AI agent is essentially a fancy chatbot that
built
has
just for you.
built for you, but it has a large language model inside, so you can talk to it like a human, the way you talk to your chat GPT.
Right.
That's it. It just sounds like human and natural language. Today, when you go on any site that has a chatbot, so anyone who's implemented or purchased a chatbot in the past, 2-3 years, it's like not a great investment anymore, right? Because you can just use agentic agents where you can converse with them and they sound like a human.
Right.
Wow. With this AI cultural zeitgeist that's happening right now.
Yeah, it is a zeitgeist.
What gets you most excited about it?
I'm not actually that excited about it. I'm kidding. I'm excited about it, but I'm actually very
Nervous?
Concerned.
I'm very conscious about it. There's a book out right now called Careless People. So we brought up Zuckerberg. It's a tell-all of Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg and their story of building Facebook, but from a lens of she's an ex-employee. She was the head of policy or one of the first policy hires. And it's just, you build tech to build without realizing the impact. So after they got Trump into power in 2016, 17, 16, right? Facebook outwardly said, oh my gosh, this is horrible. This won't happen again. We're going to, really lock down on privacy. But what they then did was go around the world and go, hey, you want to buy power?
Right.
You want to buy authoritarianism? You want to buy a political tool that makes sure you're going to win? It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, get off of it. But
So
Yeah.
it needs to be, I guess, regulated, quality assurance.
yeah, but
There's-
our governments are so behind, right? Because they haven't been able to keep up with this zeitgeist, and it keeps compounding.
Yeah.
That it's pretty scary. So I'm nervous about that. But I think there's a conscientious way, and I think customers and businesses and people are a lot more aware now. So there's this concept of, I know if I'm going to prompt chat, I'm going to kill a tree. Right, I have that awareness.
I didn't know that.
Now you do. I know that as a business, if I spend a lot of money on Facebook, I'm supporting those pieces. People always say, I don't care about giving my data away. I'm one person. I'm like, okay. I mean, one person is one step that you can control in this huge thing.
So
right?
what can the average person do, for example, if they're concerned about giving their data away, that one thing they can do every day to try to be more cognizant of that? What do you do, right? At the end of the day, you're going to use Instagram, you're going to use, WhatsApp, you're going to use these things. Do you just stop using them, or is there a way you can go about it where you protect yourself a little bit more?
I mean, I think there's actually, I think a whole cohort of people who are anti these things now. Like a lot of millennials are like, screw this, I'm getting off of WhatsApp, I'm getting off of Instagram because of this awareness.
But are they just going to Snapchat and TikTok? Like they're just going to the
they
competitors.
are going to another competitor for sure. Or some, I do know people who are completely cold turkey off of it. And then you have another cohort of people who are like, well, I want to participate, but I don't want to lose all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's the work of going into settings and turning off everything, right? Don't let it voice listen to you. Don't let it access your photos. Control everything that you're on there. Clean your feed. Make sure like everything you put out there is stuff that you actually don't mind. Delete it if you don't want it. Like I went through, I think last year, a year and a half ago, I deleted 300 pictures from Instagram. It took days. It's like so exhausting.
Right.
But you know what? Once you're done, your algorithm completely changes.
Right.
What you see completely change. Like who you follow, unfollow, like everything changes. So it's kind of like think through like what control you have and like the boring, tedious work of doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very good.
Interesting. We can talk about AI for days, but I want to switch gears about Superclub.
Oh, okay.
Superclub.
Yeah.
We originally met there, I think, through one of our first guests. It was actually Peter Wong. Love Peter. Peter's the
Yeah.
best.
He
He told me and I actually go to check out Superclub.
Yeah, he told us about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
Right. And so, went to check it out. And then that's where we met.
You went to check it out like physically?
Physically.
Wow.
No, not through AI.
Wow.
Right.
Good for you.
What is it like? And so we went there, we met in person. It was incredible. We're talking about like just topics.
Well, can you tell everybody about
sometimes-
Superclub? Because I don't know that much about it, but also our audience probably doesn't know
Yeah,
much
well, we
about
want
it.
Janice to explain it.
Okay.
I wanted to lay it up for her, and then I'll talk a little bit about my experience there. But what is Superclub?
So Superclub is an ecosystem for leaders, entrepreneurs, mainly folks that identify as BIPOC, to come together and essentially discuss topics that are more taboo, because you kind of need to unpack these things in places and spaces that you feel safe in to become a better leader for tomorrow.
Amazing.
Okay, so give us like
A topic example?
Or is it like it's like literally a physical space that people go to? So you guys have a brick and mortar, or do you meet up at different places?
So funny enough, we created it because it was a response to, I think it was 2021. Everybody was still locked up at home and everything was happening in the South and, all the murders and George Floyd's death. And everyone who is ethnic in Canada that works in an industry that is very not ethnic gets tapped to be like, hey, can you come and like talk? Can you sit on a panel? Can you do these things? And so Dave, Anish, and I were like, this is so annoying. We're getting tapped to do all these panels when like 2 years ago you wouldn't pick up my call kind of thing. And so we're like, let's just do our own thing. So we started creating a space together where people would come, and it was in word of mouth, invite only. And it's just like a very good experience, right? You go into a room, like everybody is of a different ethnic background, and you're just having conversation. And so for the first year and a half, we had no website, none of that like presence stuff. And it was just through word of mouth. We started, I think, a year and a half into it. We created a site. We started to bring people together and talk about it more. But our whole thing was we would test topics. So our topics were, really challenging topics that we personally were struggling with, but there's no place for you to have a conversation about that intersects with professionalism or business. An example is money, right? The concept of money. Why is it that immigrants have a different concept of money than like third generations or like folks that have come here been here for a long time?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? Or, people who are thinking about it relative to scarcity, to like, what did your parents pass down to you? Why is that so hard to get over, especially because now you don't have to survive anymore. You're in designer clothing, and yet you can't get over this like fear, right?
Yes.
And these blocks, personally, I think they actually hold all of us back from taking more risks.
Yes.
From doing things.
Yes.
From trying things. Like you're like, oh my God, it's so great that you did like the Beanie Baby thing. And I'm like, yeah, it never was even a fear. It was kind of like, this is a fun experiment, right? But it's the lens we approach a problem statement. And so if you remove a lot of this limitation and the limiting thinking in individuals, then you just have more amazing people who will create.
No, that's definitely a thing for me, especially in the arts. Something that I've really thought about lately, because I couldn't put my finger on it for a long time. And I don't think we've had this conversation, but I couldn't put my finger on it for a long time, but early on in my career, I almost felt more free because I had accepted the fact that I was going into an industry where I really had no chance of making money.
Right.
Like I was just like, I'm just going to make enough money to survive
Yeah.
and be able to create. And then the more successful I got, that I don't want to call it PTSD, but that whatever you just said
Yeah.
started to creep back in, that immigrant mentality of like, well, no, it is about the money. Like, of course it's about the money, because if you don't have money, how are you going to survive? And like, what are you going to pass down to your children? And like, did your parents
Right.
sacrifice all this for nothing? Like, what are you doing? Of course it's about the money. How do you make as much money as possible, you idiot? There's so much money to be made. And it became like,
Love that spiral.
it became
That's viral.
it became about the money again. Whereas when I first started, I kind of had just accepted like, yeah, I guess my parents sacrificed all that, but like, I'm an artist, so like whatever. It's not about the money. And then it became more about the money. And I think
Right.
it comes from that fear about being an immigrant and like not having any
Enough.
money. Yeah, not having enough always. And like, I'm going to run out of money. I know I'm going to run out. Like, this isn't sustainable. I'm going to run out of money.
Yeah.
And you have that fear. You're like, I got to make more because I'm going to run out.
Yeah.
So that's like a real thing. Like,
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And like if you break it down, it's like there's only so many, like everything we pay attention to, all of our actions, all of our words, everything you say is connected to, I can't remember the exact four, but they're connected to 4 underlying beliefs. One of them is I'm not worthy,
Yes.
right? Because I don't know, you saw your parents as that, you saw them struggling, they didn't have time to give you enough
Or you were bullied at
attention, or you were
school.
bullied,
Yeah.
like whatever
Yeah.
it was, like that's a belief. The second one that I know really well is it's the fear of being like left alone, the fear of abandonment, the fear of you're just like going to be essentially out there on your own. And that fear, which is kind of more, I think related to money, because without enough money, you can't survive. And
Right.
that fear of like surviving is really, really like underlying for a lot of people. And so if you start to react to it and understand it better, then it allows you to just create distance.
Yeah. Now you've gone into like psychology, the
Yeah, I'm really
psychology,
into
the
psych.
psychology
We're gonna
realm
hear
a little bit more.
the third and fourth.
I actually don't know. I can't remember. My my therapist told me a few weeks ago, and I focused on the one that I'm still working on.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I was like, crap, you're so right.
No,
and
yeah.
then I forgot the other two. But they're there. It's like...
I was a psych major for a year
Were
before
you?
I went into theater.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I really want to go back to school and get a psych major.
Yeah,
actually.
psychology's fascinating
It's
because yeah,
fascinating.
it's like what runs us like as human beings.
We're
like
operating
everything.
systems, right? Like
Yeah.
you yourself are an operating system, and your operating system you think is like your body, your brain. But your brain is actually not an operating system. Your brain is a sponge.
Yeah.
Like your concept of you went from like feeling really free to like feeling really restricted because you're like, all my freedoms are gone because now I just have to think about money and survival. That's because probably you felt that inside, and also everything around you was telling you that. Telling you, showing you that you need more, right? But your brain is just the sponge. So my therapist has been teaching me this, like how you can not heal, but how you can essentially manage it is the moment you feel it, just become the observer, like distance.
Right. Yeah.
The moment you create a distance, you're like, oh,
Well,
not that big of a
I think it's a state of acceptance as well.
bless you.
A state of acceptance and state of resistance. Like I think, like to go back to that example quickly, you know, when I first came out of theater school, it was just a state of acceptance that
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have any money ever. Like it's all good. I'm doing this for the art anyway. So it was a state of acceptance, and then you gain a little bit of success, and then you're like, well, no, like this should come with this, like, and then it's a state of resistance.
Yeah.
And you're resisting, and so it changes. Yeah. It's, we could get into a whole
I love it, though.
psychology
We love
debate on the show. We'll do that another time.
Yeah.
But so Superclub, what is the revenue model? Is there a revenue model? There has to
So the psych thing is so super interesting because I actually think because of AI and everything, in the very near future, you're just going to have an explosion of entrepreneurs. It's already happening. Like
Yeah.
the younger generation's like, I don't want to work for a bank. I don't want to
Yes.
wear a suit. Like it's already happening.
100%.
Right. And so you have that explosion happening. The problem is we are our own worst nightmares as entrepreneurs, right? The fact, even like you and your girlfriend running a gin company, it's not the logistics of the operations. It's not the idea. It's not even the branding. It's honestly, you become your own limitation because you go, I'm not good enough. Is it doing why is it not hitting this milestone?
Right.
And you start to like get into your own head, right? So I think like the psych part of being a human is so important, and we forget about it a lot because mental health isn't normalized yet. People think it's weak to have a therapist still. People think it's weak to even talk to your friends.
Especially ethnic backgrounds. Because the whole, you mentioned a couple of things. You mentioned not feeling worthy, and then also abandonment. But I think another one is shame.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, and I think maybe that's the one, not feeling worthy, ties in with that. I don't know if it's a separate thing, but shame. Shame is a big thing in ethnic cultures.
Definitely.
A huge thing.
Yes.
So there's shame, like I felt a lot of shame when I was accepting that I wanted to be an actor. Like, I knew that I wanted to be an actor from a very young age.
Really?
But I was, very young. I was like, so Alex will remember this, but I was Peter Pan in grade 8, like in elementary school.
Okay.
And so at a very young age, I knew I wanted to be an actor, but it was always shameful. It was like, that's a hobby, right? So your parents don't know they're shaming you. Like my parents like still to this day resist that they ever shamed me, but I'm like, you did it without knowing, because you're like, that's a hobby. You don't do that as a job. That is a hobby. And so that is, you're shaming. You're essentially shaming.
They're doing it to protect you, right?
Yes.
That's the intention. But the problem with the protection is we're not living in the same context that they were growing up. So you don't actually need that armor.
Yes. But they're shaming you without knowing that they're shaming.
Exactly.
So it's a shame thing. It's like needing a therapist. You're being shamed, about needing a therapist, all that kind of stuff. So that still happens too,
Definitely.
Especially ethnic cultures.
The way I talk about it actually with people is like, you pay, let's say if you had the funds, you pay an instructor to teach you how to lift weights so you can work out your body, a coach, right? You pay teachers, educators, people, you pay for books to read, to educate your mind. But you're not going to sort through your emotions yourself. And your emotions is like the hard wiring of the whole operating system. It's the thing that goes, oh my God, I got to run. Oh my God, I don't feel good. Oh my God, I got to go to the bathroom, right? Like it's the emotion that comes up. But why is it so bad to go get help for that?
Yeah. It's becoming more widely accepted now, but again, for ethnic, like cultural backgrounds, it's still very shameful.
So one of the things I've been doing with my own mom, who's a boomer, is like, don't just talk to me. Talk to your AI. If you feel like, I don't know how to deal with my friend, ask your AI.
Right.
It just becomes like an outlet that's more accessible. She's like, oh my God, it gave me a great answer. And my friend didn't get mad at me for canceling plans. I'm like, awesome.
You're like, great.
Great job. But I think as you age as well, especially the older generations, they don't have as much access to internet and technologies. Like my mother can barely text. Like she doesn't know the appropriate emojis. But if it's meeting her at a place where she can just talk to it, she's like, this is an AI? I mean, it's just curing loneliness in a different way, right? So there are like hopeful things. Back to your question earlier about like what am I excited about AI? I think like the way it helps an older generation is going to be interesting to see.
So to go back to this question, so at Superclub, what is your revenue model?
So our Superclub revenue model right now is sponsorships, and we just do ticketing for our events.
Okay.
Yeah. What I don't want to do is a membership.
Like the Soho House.
Like the Soho House, like many other communities where you have to pay to be in the club.
Right.
Because I think it defeats the purpose of, and I think there's other models out there that can make this sustainable. So we're trying to challenge that. We've looked at, do we just like charge people a membership? It really just like degrades the experience, because the whole experience is that you're coming, you're intentionally there. Like people leave feeling the most amazing feelings that we've gotten reviews
But
on.
it still is invite only.
No, now when we do an event, you have to know about it. If you're part of the community, you get essentially the email, kind of like what I was telling you about your company. You get an email that tells you this is the upcoming event. And then we spend a lot of time focusing on the topics and curating the event. So in March, usually in March now, every year we do a conversation around money because it's tax season, it's the beginning of the year. This past year, we did it around what we call the wealth circle. So we had 11 experts come that talk about everything from bankruptcy to, finance 101 to scaling a company to what it means to have enough.
Wow.
And you have a whole conversation, and you get to go talk to your speakers and understand like their experience, their stories and whatnot.
Wow.
In our next one in July, we're doing it on relationships, but not relationships in one dimension. So relationship with love, relationship with self, relationship with work, relationship with space. Yeah, and so we're trying to like push the boundary a bit with like certain conversations that we curate, and then it's just all about finding the right speaker and finding the right content and curating that experience.
So sad that I saw that it's happening in July.
The July one.
Yes, unfortunately, it's Mina's wedding.
Unfortunately.
So I'm so sorry that I have to miss it for that.
That's okay.
I know, but
He's
this
offended.
this matters.
That's all I got.
This matters.
Fortunately, not unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a groomsman.
Unfortunately, you're not anymore.
He's gonna remember that memory.
Yeah.
Core memory.
Core memory.
But so now that we're speaking about Superclub, I think it's a good segue, because as we're wrapping up the podcast, I think that what you're doing is incredible. It's needed. It's important for our community, for people to talk about these taboo topics, things that people are very uncomfortable talking about.
Yeah.
And I think as minorities, you pour cement over these things, and you're like, just deal with it. But you've created a place where people can be their 100% self and open it up. What's advice you'd give to somebody who's breaking out in the industry, somebody who's a minority, somebody who's trying to find their footing? They're a little nervous of being an entrepreneur or finding their footing in a space. What's advice you'd give maybe to a younger Janice who's trying to find her footing in the industry?
I mean, I think it's advice I took, but I would give this again and again. It's go and meet people. Like, you can't solve a problem in a vacuum. Like, you have to go hang out with your customer. You have to understand what the need is. If you don't fully feel the pain, you don't know your customer. You don't. And like most people don't, I think, because we get very, caught up in like, oh, like I got a KPI. Like, a human is not a KPI, right? Someone who bought a gin is not a KPI. It's a data point, but it's not a KPI.
What's a KPI?
Like a key performance indicator.
Oh,
so
okay.
people go, oh, I really understand this industry because I sold X amount of things before. I'm like, good for you, but like, what does your customer say? What are they like? Who are they? Mm-hmm. How are they like that? And I think we just don't, we're so online that we don't spend enough time in person. And then I think the other probably piece of advice is, and I heard this recently, is like your network is actually your superpower. Like your network, how you maintain it, how you maintain your relationships is actually your superpower. So what I'm trying to do, I'm learning from, I went to a talk recently, she's an ex-senator, her name is Marie Paulin. She says, like, prime ministers have told her, you have the best Rolodex in the country. And it's because she spends every day, every morning, a few minutes, just like sending someone a message. Hey, I was just thinking about you. Hey, I saw your latest,
Yeah, I'm so
thing.
bad at that.
I know, because we get anxiety being like,
Yes.
oh, I don't have time.
I actually get anxiety. I've never said this before. I get anxiety making phone calls.
Really?
Like if I know I have to call somebody or I have to do something for work, I get anxiety knowing I have to make a phone call.
This brings me back to our childhood. I'd call his phone constantly and be like,
Aww.
and Mrs. Masood would be like, hi, Alex. I'd be like, hi, Mrs. Masood, is Mina around to play? And then I'd hear like Mina like,
what? How would you even hear that, dude? We didn't even have cell phones back then.
Hey,
but maybe
man.
that's the root of my anxiety.
hey, man. I'm like, Mina, want to play? Fuck no.
No, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fear of I don't know what it is.
We
I
have
just
such a
don't like making
wonderful
phone calls.
dynamic. I love making phone calls. I'm in sales. Like
You weren't always like this,
I know,
though.
I
He was
was-
the most introverted. Seriously,
Yeah.
he was so introverted. He had no friends. He was a loser.
you.
Except for you.
No, yeah, exactly. He wasn't a loser, but he was very introverted.
Yeah.
It's funny how this happens. I feel like when we were younger, I was more extroverted and you were more introverted, and now I'm more introverted and you're more extroverted
happens.
somehow.
It happened. Yeah, honestly, like your social battery, I can tell. We were at like an event. Mina's like, all right, let's go. We had some food before. Just a woman was talking to him. He's like, I was like, all right, let me go save this guy. Like, I could tell, like, you're just like, the flag was up. You're like, somebody save me.
Well,
I'm like,
because when you're, a lot of actors are this way, because when you're an actor, you expend a lot of your energy on set, and then not even for a day, like we're talking about weeks at a time or months at a time, and sometimes you really need to recharge after that. Like you just can't sustain it for that long. Because also when you're an actor, it's not just me giving you energy as my acting partner. There's 50, 60 other people that are also taking using that energy, because you want to build a nice environment. So like, you tell a camera operator like, hey, how you doing? How's your wife? All this stuff. So you come on set and you're constantly
on.
Yes. And so when you're not, let's say you wrap a movie after 3 months, like, I just want to go in a hole and be alone for a few months.
Yeah, you do it. You stay in your hole.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. Stay in your hole.
Relationship with space, Alex.
You gotta stay in the. I just think so the way this woman broke it down was like, if you give yourself an allotment, don't call. That's obviously not your thing, but like 10 minutes, send a text, send an email, and don't think about it as keeping your network. Think about it as being a human. Right? Just be like, hey, how are you doing? Like, haven't heard from you in a while. It's like the outreach, because we don't do that.
See, I don't have a problem with the outreach. The issue is gonna be when I ask them a question, they respond back, and then that was it. I don't continue it after that. That's the issue. Save it
for your 20 minutes tomorrow.
Yeah. Just continue.
Don't do it today. Save it for your 10 minutes tomorrow. That's your allocated time to reply.
Right. Yeah, I should do that. I'm
because
horrible at that. You're good at that.
Then you're kind of like, you're maintaining your network without actually. I'm not here to sell you something. I'm just a human. I want to be like, hey, is your daughter okay? Like, is everything okay? I saw an article. You look great. Like, it's just this human aspect. When you guys were kids, you show up at school, it's like, I like your backpack. The compliments are real, right? Like, we played so well. Now as adults, it's all out the window. The fuck?
Yeah.
That's true.
It's like, we're no longer humans. We're so focused on the outcome. Who cares? Like, the whole point is the journey, right? The whole point of being a human is living through the shitty moments and the nice moments, and being able to like support each other and like have human connection, because we're herd animals.
Yeah.
Wow. What a way.
Well, there you go. That's what Superclub is all about. That's a great explanation for Superclub.
That's a great way to end the podcast, too. Holy crap. We're all hurt humans,
She said animals, I think.
I know.
I said animals.
I know.
Man, get your listening in order.
We're pack animals. So is this guy.
Yeah, he was really sweet. He came and sat here for a while. Just, I'm the dog whisperer.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Okay, Jose. Well, Janice, thank you so much for being on the show. We learned a lot from you. We appreciate it. And we're looking forward to seeing you at Superclub, hopefully sometime soon.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to hit you up. Not call you, but I'll hit you up. Mantis Group. I need to see how I can take my businesses to the next level.
Hit me up.
All right. Thanks, Janice. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Please subscribe, share, and join the journey of growth untold. Don't miss a single nugget. Hit that follow button now on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram.